How's the game look so far? Let me take my list, actually. Let me take my list of reviewing criteria. Behold, the list. How did I come across the game? I found Stormgate because they are ex-Blizzard. And that's how they introduced themselves. And that's also partly the comparison that people will make. How does it compare to StarCraft and Warcraft? Graphics. What type of graphics and what kind of quality of that type? I would say young, modern. It's a little bit Pixar-esque. Yeah, I don't really have the words because I'm not a graphics designer. Is it fantasy? Is it sci-fi? It's sci-fi. What type? Simplified, I suppose. Actually, I think the terrain looks worse than the units. I think the Infernal units look pretty good. The Vanguard units last time I played lacked some distinction between each other. Then the quality, I think is so-so. I think could be better. It's readable, but not very beautiful. Lots of the game is still early as far as art, including placeholder assets. Yeah, I saw some placeholder assets. But I don't expect a full rework anymore, right, Frost Giant? Then the style and lore. I think the style and lore is safe. Safe as in human faction, demon faction, and I don't know what the third is going to be. It's not particularly, let's say, imaginative. Demons in space and so on. We haven't seen a lot of lore yet, but we did see some cinematic where they say, I've got it. They found some ancient tablets, some kind of alien artifact. The lore doesn't feel super alive yet, but then of course we haven't played through a single player yet either, like we have for campaigns where we do know the lores. Sound and music. Sound, as we hear now, is good. The music is good. Style, that's preferential. I like Klapaki music, but I don't think it's continuous enough, the music. There's too many quiet periods. Maybe they're planning to make more and then have like a greater variety. Maybe by design sometimes it goes into quiet periods, but I don't personally enjoy those quiet periods. I want one track after the next after the next. As for sound, some sounds sound really good, like some shooting and stuff, some shooting, some hitting. Some are clearly unfinished, and some that do feel finished do not sound very good yet to me. Campaign single player, I can't say. Gameplay, new player onboarding. Well, they've got a 3v mode. Team versus E is important for onboarding, so I think that's pretty good. As for the gameplay, I enjoyed my games today, so I would say the gameplay is promising. Replayability is large in multiplayer games that have a player base. If they have a player base. If they don't, then you can't replay it. If there's a single player that has lots of variety, then that's replayable. Multiplayer, we can't say yet how many people are playing, but I found games. Culture, cannot say. Innovation, how creative is it? I would say, for me at the moment, not very creative. It is essentially taking a lot of parts of other popular games, other popular RTS, and combining a little bit of all of them. How many new improved systems? It's mostly trying to be safe and making a game like came before, which will also mean, of course, you will be comparing it to the other games that are still playable that came before. So this remains to be seen, but I would say the most innovative is probably where they try to have two major game modes presented as the main game mode, which is both the one-on-one and then the 3 versus E, which is more like the party mode. That's like someone like Asmongold will probably prefer to play. And that is a good system. User interface is very derivative of StarCraft 2, which is exactly what you want. The control scheme is good, but should be expanded to allow you to play non-grid. I may not want to play grid. More customizability is required for custom keys, for hotkeys. It's derivative of StarCraft, which is good. Everyone should derive from StarCraft when they're doing RTS, because it literally has the best UI in the industry. It's just the best, no better has been found yet. Then, in terms of the extra features that StarCraft doesn't have, it tries to allow for simplification of the control scheme, which is allowing you to auto-select workers when building things. This works, but when I try to test it, I find that I get punished as a high-level RTS player, because I told one worker to go here and build an expansion, and then I gave a command to 2 of any worker to go there and make 2 towers. And it took the one that was building an expansion and made it into a tower instead, which kind of makes sense because it isn't mining resources right now, so it feels more idle. All it had was, it was on a move command, and then it was going to be on a building command. But you would never want to override an expansion worker to just become a tower instead. Luckily I noticed it, but some people might not notice it. But the idea of creating the system is good. Then the settings looked decent. Better than AoE 4 on release, Age of Empires 4, but still needs more expansion. Performance looked pretty good, I would say. Maybe very good. You could run 16 times replay speed, which is nice. You can't skip to the end, but you can watch in 16 times. That's worse than Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is 64. But better than Heroes of the Storm, which is 8x8. Polish, bugs, technical issues, performance. We can mostly skip this since it is still an early alpha. Monetization, I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I'm pretty sure they're not going to charge for power. We don't know about DLC, obviously. I think they're going to sell the game once. And maybe they'll have extra DLC for extra campaign or PvE. They model heavily after the StarCraft 2. They've said they like the StarCraft 2 co-op commander system, where commanders are sold one by one or whatever, or in bundles, so that more content can be played with your friends against AI. Oh, it's free to play? Oh, it's free to play. Okay, so it's free to play multiplayer then. Maybe you'll buy aesthetics and missions. Game is free to play, we're selling campaign chapters. Right, okay. So basically how StarCraft 2 is now. StarCraft 2 was not free to play, but it is now. And they're selling, let's say, single player and campaign and stuff. Developer involvement, direction, commitment. They're watching this right now. And they talk to people on Reddit. So they are committed to be involved. And they're talking in my chat. Yeah. Development cycle and plans, patching. Probably too soon to say, but we've already had a few alpha builds. Conclusion, I think many people feel, and I agree, graphics are not very attractive and a bit of a turn off initially. But if you get past it, then the gameplay is pretty good. The sound has a good start and can be improved. The style and lore is not my favorite, in that it's a little cliche, let's say. Humans and demons. I don't feel a lot of logic there. Fantasy is good, but logical fantasy is better. But it can still maybe be improved or worked on or something. Overall, the most important one is gameplay in a multiplayer RTS. And that was pretty fun today, and I would play again. So I am currently somewhat hopeful for this. And I hope graphics will improve and sound. Especially the sound is something I'm just putting up with now, but would like a better atmosphere to play within. This part is really good. The details, the monetization, the performance. I think this is their strongest suit, together with gameplay. Multiplayer replayability will be about how many people they can get interested and engage. And that is going to be their quest. Alright, that's kind of my review to the person who asked how's it looking so far. Hope you enjoyed.